Well, welcome to tonight's episode, or today's episode of the Group Therapy Podcast. Today we have returning guest Shawn Burkett and Ryan Stacy from the, I want to say the cult hit, the two parts of a trilogy. Fingers crossed on Don't Fuck in the Woods. I told you, I was like, yeah, I had somebody come up to me the other day, and he goes, man, there's a movie on Tubi called, Don't Fuck in the Woods. I went, know it. I know the guys that made it. So, oh man, Ryan, it says that your microphone is not on. It's giving you a heads up. But all right. So you guys have
I know my microphone is off. I'm in the same house as Shawn, so I'm trying to eliminate as much feedback as I can because I'm like 20 feet away from him. So
okay, that'll work then. Cool. So you two have a pair of cryptid centric movies coming out. Tell us about them.
Ryan, you can take this one. No.
why me? I'm not the director.
So we have Project Mothman, which is literally for the past about a year and a half, we've kind of been filming this in secret, just in between all our other productions, whenever we get a chance. And it is basically I guess a mockumentary. I hate that word because literally everything, all the information in it is real. All the information that we gather is real. So yeah, but we go to Point Pleasant and we document past and present sightings of Mothman, and well, things take a turn in the end. So it's definitely like a documentary that turns into something a little more found footage.
All right. So what's funny is, there we go, switching around here. I am a big cryptid guy. I love my cryptids, and this will be your three attempt, because you did, you have a Sasquatch, now you've got a Mothman, and you've got the Jersey Devil coming. So
well, see, technically the creature in Don't Fuck in the Woods could be categorized as a cryptid.
There we go. Yeah, definitely. The well, the funny part about it is did you guys actually go to Point Pleasant to film anything?
Yeah.
Cool.
We got into the Mothman Museum. They let us in there after hours for a little bit, and I mean, we went all around the town. We went to the bunkers. Those bunkers, it's like living in 3D. Like the way that the audio is in there, it is the craziest thing. This may be underwhelming, but it's the craziest thing I've experienced in real life.
Well, is it the shape of the because I know they're domes, right? And it's just the way the sound permeates. Yeah, I could definitely see that. And last year, Tina and I went to a horror convention in Virginia. We drove through Point Pleasant, and my wife's a big Fallout fan, so she had to go see where they filmed where the Fallout took place. She was like, "Well, this is Point Pleasant. This is this is." And then on our way back through, we drove through, and it was like, I don't know, it was early in the morning, and they have the sign up that says rest area, Point Pleasant rest area restroom, or rest area closed. And my wife's going, wonder why that is. I said, because they don't need the Mothman sneaking up behind you while you're at the urinal. But no, it's I think it's really cool you guys have been able to go to Point Pleasant. You're doing mockumentary. I wouldn't say it's a documentary that becomes found footage, is what it
Right.
is,
Like,
right? Yeah. So it's not a mockumentary. It's an actual documentary that becomes a full another movie at a certain point, essentially, right?
yes, because, well, when it becomes more found footage and things become more storyline driven,
Yeah.
it, it's like one night after we've done all our interviews and everything, it doesn't have anything to do with, the history or anything like that. It's like we gather the information and then it kind of just changes from there.
Okay.
Because,
Now,
like, I don't want to discredit anyone or anything, any sightings, anything like that. And I actually mentioned that in what we've shot already, because there's been, I get to be a research nerd when it comes to like cryptids, and it's like I don't want to like say like this seems funny, but it's like there's some people. One of the first people to have a encounter was Linda Scarberry, and she ended up having a total of three. One where Mothman even like dove out of a tree and tried to get her in her front yard. Uh, so there's some things that we definitely touch base on that I feel from what because I've seen every documentary on Mothman, and it's like I feel like there's always just this little bit that they either don't touch, or at that point it will make, I don't know, the documentary like turn a little bit, like shift, like it might not be a real thing. Because a lot of the documentaries I've watched are like, I feel like, other than the small town monsters, like their documentaries are amazing, but like the other ones, I feel like they're trying to sell a sense of realism and not show you both sides.
yeah,
So,
yeah. Well, there's no money in making it out to be proving that it doesn't exist. The money's in making it proving that it does exist, or trying to
right,
prove that it does exist.
right.
Yeah. The a friend of mine is actually in the documentary Eyes of the Mothman. So yeah. Chad Lambert.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. He worked on that one. I actually got a signed copy of it around here from him. So well, so are you a big cryptid guy? Are you really into the cryptids, or is it just something you kind of settled on with these movies?
I don't know. I mean, I say I don't know. I'm sitting like 10 feet away from like Bigfoot casts. And so it's like, I think since Don't Fuck in the Woods, like getting into making monster movies, I think I've become more of a cryptid uh, advocator, if that's even a word.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
it is now.
yeah, yeah, it is now. Advocate. That's what I was looking for. Advocate.
Ryan just
They're just fun. They're just fun. Like I can do research on it, but then I can also choose to do whatever the hell I want to do.
so Ryan, where do you stand on cryptids? Oh,
No.
nope, we're not getting any sound. Oh, there we go. Back there.
Okay.
Okay,
So
there
where
we
do
go.
I stand on cryptids? I don't actually have a position. Um, I guess I've always thought that there could be possibilities of these things existing. I know when I was a little kid, I was always fascinated by Bigfoot. just the idea of it. So yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at with it. Like I don't not believe, and I'm not like an advocator apparently. So
Yeah, advocate. No, for me, I've talked about this because I actually got Ken Gerhard on the show. If you've ever seen any documentary about cryptids or Bigfoot and stuff, you've seen Ken Gerhard on that. And we had a talk. We actually talked somewhat off camera, and we were talking about our own personal experiences and stuff like that. We had talked before, and I was like, I not saying I seen the Ohio grass man, but I think I saw him twice. If not, it's really coincidental. It's legitimately on the same river, and it's about 6 miles apart. And I saw a hairy, short dude like getting water out of the river with his hands and disappearing back into the woods. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's a thing. And then I think I saw a Thunderbird once, and not the car, the actual big. I'm not gonna lie, I almost wrecked my car trying to get my phone out of my pocket to take a picture of it because I didn't. I thought it was a prop for Halloween. This is
yeah.
literally like 2 weeks before Halloween. I'm driving to Lima because I worked at the Lima Mall at the time, and I see this big bird on a pole, and I'm like, that's a really good prop. Somebody did a really good job. And then it spreads its wings out, kind of shakes, and then puts its wings back in. And I'm like, that's not a prop. And the whole entire time I'm like, doing about 70 on the doing probably about 80 on the interstate going I'm trying to take a picture with my phone. And that wasn't the good phone either that I could like this one I could do. No, that was the flip open, scroll, hit the back when I still had a Nokia. Then if I would have wrecked, the only thing they would have found was the Nokia phone.
Right.
So Ryan, what are you working on on these two movies? What's your job?
Currently, I am an actor, one of the characters in the back half of the Mothman project.
It's I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of weird having you in front of the camera instead of behind the camera.
Have you watched a lot of our movies, Paul?
Yes, but it's still
I'm in several.
I know, but it's that you're now just a full actor in this one, but um, so
I mean, it's weird for me because I've not acted in this capacity before. So it should be pretty challenging and fun. And I like the people we get to do this with, and we get to go to this place that Shawn has found. I said yes before I learned that this would require me to go to Point Pleasant. So I got hoodwinked.
That and the bunkers at night.
Yeah, yeah, that's
at
bullshit.
night.
You never told me that until after. And it wasn't even to me. You were telling somebody else, and I found out secondhand. So we.
They were over here going, we're going to the bunker. What time? I don't know, like
Yeah,
10 o'clock. You're like, the hell we are.
yeah, exactly. It was pretty similar to that.
Surprise.
Yes. So did anybody have any experiences while you were there?
You know what? I've been in some places to where like I get a vibe like the hair stands on the back of my neck. Not a single thing in Point Pleasant. Like it was just
What's
it
weird
was
is you didn't catch anything there when we were doing the location scouting for trespassing. You caught something growling at you from under the stairs.
right, but also in that house, like I knew like that back area, I was like, nah, there's something wrong back there. But I'm not going back there.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
So like, yeah, I've been in some places to where it's like I'll just have a bad vibe, but everywhere in Point Pleasant, like going into the bunkers and everything, the bunkers, like, I didn't feel like I was gonna be hurt or anything, but this like 3D sound is a weird sensation on your ears to where it's like, ooh. But no, it was great. I'm sure I'll feel different at night because I'm terrified of the dark, but
That's bad. Dude that makes horror movies terrified of the dark.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the exact opposite. It can't get dark enough, man. If I turn all the lights off here in the basement, I still like it. I need to get a little bit darker. Just the computer, the little light on the computer's too bright. Shut it off. No.
I've gotten better, like, in places, but like, you gotta think, I've spent like a decade out in the woods making movies and at night, like, so the things that are in my head are scarier than anything that could be out there.
That's the truth
But
with
I
everybody.
still, if I'm walking alone at night in the woods, a werewolf is in my head coming out and gonna tear my face off.
See, I've been one of these kids that I lived in the woods when I was a kid, and so I had no fear of any of that stuff. But then you find something in the woods that you're just like, okay, maybe I shouldn't. Shoot, I remember being a kid and finding an abandoned campsite in the middle of the woods, and like part of the stuff had been burnt. And one of the things that had been burnt was a book, like a paperback book, but it was in Cyrillic. So it was Russian. And I'm just like, I don't think we're supposed to be here. And me and my two friends were like, I think we need to leave.
Right.
Nothing, no animals, no monsters, just creepy, weird, real people are the scariest things that lurk in the woods. By the way, that's the name of my new movie, Creepy, Weird People That Lurk in the Woods.
Well, and that's kind of what The Devil You Know, the second film in the fundraiser, is about. Essentially, it's about a cult attempting to finish a ritual that was started 40 years before. But it's also at that point like a home invasion movie. So that one is definitely based more in reality, like, no monsters in the woods.
Well, there are monsters. They're just human monsters.
Right.
I'm a firm believer that the human monster is far scarier than any monster, I guess. Because your brain's always like, Bigfoot could be real. But that dude over there, weird looking dude over there, that's real.
Right.
Yeah. So what made you decide to do the two movies simultaneously that you're working on right now?
Well, it came down to we needed some finishing funds for Project Mothman. And I have this script, and probably for the last few months, I've been showing it to people looking for investors. And what's kind of weird is that these investors were like, well, but it's not a creature feature. So it's like, this is more of a thriller slasher, to where people just aren't used to that for me. So the story is amazing, and it's one of the few things that's living in my head right now. So it's like, I want to make it. So if I, yeah, we're just gonna do our best to raise all the funds we can and make it, because it's a very minimalistic story that's just like scary. I think I may make my first actual scary movie. Like anybody can make, I don't want to say anybody. I'm not trying to undercut anyone, but like horror films are many different aspects of horror films. You can have cheesy horror films, you can have gory horror films, but like to make a film that actually like has you on the edge of your seat and is just like slowly pushing you further to that edge, that's a hard thing to do. That's a very hard thing to do. And that's, I mean, that's my goal.
Well, you I guess if you got to step outside your comfort zone, because you have been the guy that does the monsters, you've been the one, yeah,
Right.
and this has got to be vastly different. So I mean, I guess
It's
you did.
cheaper. I don't have to build a suit.
So there's bonus points there. You don't have to build a monster,
Right.
but you got to get, but you're going to have to go probably good on the kill scenes and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be gory as hell. There's a scene where somebody gets like the edge of a fireplace, a brick fireplace. Somebody gets their head just bashed into that. Yeah, there's gore in it for sure.
Are you like me? I've got these death scenes like plotted out. I know it's bad. I'm jotted them down and stuff and use them for references, but I have death scenes that I got rolling around in my head that I want to see in a movie, and then I'll work the movie. I have to make the movie around it to put the death scene in.
See, what's crazy is I haven't had to like, I can remember like years ago, like the death scenes. It's like, okay, I gotta make sure that these death scenes are the best thing in this movie. And I don't know when, but at some point I just stopped caring about that. Like it'll get there. It'll be gory. It'll be hopefully different.
That's cool. It's like I said, you are the, I want to say, the monster movie guys, and but to be honest, you're even your monster movies are pretty worlds apart. So it's not that you're you know making kind of the same movie. It's not like you're making Jaws, but this time it's a squid, and this time it's a killer whale. It's not the same movie. It's just
Hey,
with a different
hey,
monster. What?
hey! You leave Orcas out of this, man.
I love Orca.
Especially that movie because that's a scary ass movie.
I remember being a little kid, and when they're pull the one mother orca and the baby falls out, that still sticks with me to this
Yeah,
day.
that's something you can't unsee.
No, that was 40 some
Mm-hmm.
years ago for me, and it's still there. It's rent free in my brain forever.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I with Orca, and if I dig around, I believe I have the novelization of Orca still. That Yeah, it was in that whole vein of the Jaws knockoffs, but that's probably the best Jaws knockoff there is.
But is it a Jaws knockoff or is it a different version of Moby Dick?
Well, yeah, that's true too. But it came out at that time where they're like, oh, these are all Jaws knockoffs.
Mm-hmm.
How they count Grizzly and Prophecy as Jaws knockoff because it's animals gone wild and they're going through and searching. I'm like, not every Animal Gone Wild movie is a Jaws knockoff. Come on, don't.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, I'm sure pretty soon Jaws is gonna do cocaine.
I don't know. I just gave to a movie called Crackoon, so we'll just see how that one goes. The yeah, there's got to be all these now you're gonna have all these animals on drugs because of the whole thing. Was it a few years ago when people were in Florida? They're telling you to stop flushing your meth down the toilet because the alligators are getting addicted and it's
Mhm.
causing them to be aggressive. I'm like, okay, I didn't know that alligators needed to be aggressive, but whatever. But the last thing I want one's high on meth.
Right.
It's the same thing with supposedly that there's so much drugs in the water from being flushed that they can't be processed out through water treatment. That's why people have like genetic disorders now. That's why people have some people are massively fertile, other people are sterile. It's because of all the drugs that are in the water. So, but also heard the same thing about that's why girls develop faster now is because all the chicken, because all the hormones in chicken makes people develop faster. I don't know if that's true, but it certainly sounds like it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's your next movie about people eating too many chicken hormones. um, so I have to ask this, and I really should ask this of all the filmmaker people I bring in. How far ahead in your head are you on the movies that you make? So, like, how many movies that you're not currently working on are in your head that you're like, oh, I got to start working on this. I got to start doing this.
I'll let Ryan take this one first.
Um, I think it truthfully depends on what the person is working on. You know, sounds like I'm speaking for Shawn, but and I'll give an example of me, but like just watching Shawn the last 5 years almost working on trying to get Don't Fuck 2 out, but still finish up the other projects. Like that's kind of how ahead he seemed. Um, or if you're like me and you get really enchanted by an idea of yours and you won't let it go, you'll sit and work for the same thing, like I said, 5 years. So I'm not really working ahead. I'm just working on the same thing, which is Starlets Forever. But I think as far as in my head, I know that I have two other movies that I see, but those are Starlet sequels. So,
So yeah, still got to get starlets, and then you branch off from there.
mhm. But I'm thinking about everything that I do with this one, how that will affect stories for two other films.
See, I am OCD, and I'll like jot notes down for stuff I'm currently working on. And everybody's like, well, "Why don't you do something with it?" I was like, "I don't know if I have a full story yet somewhere and all this bullshit."
Break it up into acts,
Yeah. Well, now
like a
people have
play.
talked me into doing, since I do all this stuff on YouTube, is filming it and doing it episodically. So I'm like, well, maybe I will do it episode. One I
Yeah,
could do. The one story I could really definitely do episodically. The other one I don't know if I could. But you know. Is there anything that you've ever like really like wanted to do, like you were moving forward on and then it just kind of fell apart on you?
Starlets.
Starlets?
Hmm.
You were last time we talked, you were really close to that. So
Hmm.
what can I ask what's happened?
Money.
Money? Because that seems like that has to be a lot. Because you
It feels like it could be. It's definitely a film that would operate on a budget larger than what we've worked with for one single picture, but it's not some crazy huge like six-figure budget. Like it's nothing like that. Um, between what Shawn and I can do and then what our costumer Shelley Buckheimer can do, like the film will look expensive and lush. It's just I think the tricky part is getting people who finance horror films to understand that this is a horror movie. It's not something else. I was working with a team before recently who did not want to market the film as a horror movie. And I thought that would have been like mass alienation. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like you're
that's
completely lying about what, well, I don't want to say lying, you're not being truthful about how the film's going to turn out. And that's actually something I see happening a lot in the indie realm too. A lot of filmmakers will go up to bat to pitch to social media or to crowdfunding with undercooked ideas. And then they'll fundraise on one concept and then they release a movie that's completely different.
yeah,
And I don't think that's fair.
no.
So,
Or it's I wouldn't say I wouldn't say it's lying. It's kind of misleading because I've
mhm.
seen that a lot lately, and I've been watching a lot of Tubi and Plex because there's just so much just indie movies out there and stuff like that, and to be honest, a lot of them are short. So when I'm doing stuff down here, and I'm like, yeah, I got like an hour 20 before I can get ready to bed, I'll throw on a movie and watch it, and you watch the trailer and the trailer shows it's going to be this, and then you watch the movie and it is nothing like that original trailer whatsoever, and you're like, okay, did they film that like way in advance, or did somebody re-edit it later, or because that scene didn't appear in the movie but that one did, or whatever. And I don't get, and I hate to say this, but if I'd rented it, I'd be pissed. It's like, but because you put money forward. Now it's on Plex or Tubi. You're like, I didn't spend any money on it, and you shouldn't be that way. You should be like, yeah, that's a good movie. I enjoyed that. That was instead of like, wasted time, not money.
I've never understood being able to do that though, like in good conscience, in good consciousness. Like I have never gone up and tried to get a movie made without knowing the complete direction of the film. And for some people, that is their creative process and it works. But there is an en masse group here of people making film who are completely misrepresenting the film they tell you that they're going to give you when you're giving your money to a crowdfunder. And I think this is an important discussion to actually have while we're sitting here because I feel that Shawn is one of the filmmakers out there who is actually really genuine about what he's doing. Have there been times where the course of his story has had to change because of things going on? Yes, but I think that just shows versatility in your artistry.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And I just think that there are a lot of contemporaries that we have in the scene out here who aren't doing the learning. They're not doing their homework. They're not spending the time that they need to with their story is to make sure that they're delivering the product that they tell people they're going to be delivering.
Yeah, it's you're right, because if I had invested money into, I don't know, a movie that okay, it was going to be this, a haunted barn movie or something like that. I'm just making shit up here. And you give me like, oh, it's got this person and this person. You're like, oh, okay. The story synopsis is that this was the barn that people were hung or something in. You're like, oh, okay. Then you get it, and then it's like the movie finally comes out, it comes to fruition, you finally see it, and you're like, okay, that movie that you told me this was going to be is not the movie that I saw. There was a barn, uh, and that's about it. Um, I'm a sucker for the underwater or water monster horror movies. Total sucker for it. I just watched one the other day called The Lake. The lake makes it look like I want to say I love Godzilla. I love Godzilla knockoff movies. I thought it was going to be a Godzilla knockoff movie, and then it ends up being more of the host, but it's Korean. I get a little bit of that, but the trailer told me it was going to be this full other movie, and then I watched it and I'm like, that's not the movie that I wanted to watch at all.
Right. And if your trailer has to be edited to where you are manipulating people into watching it, A, that's marketing. I guess it's doing its job.
Yeah.
But B, it's a lie. And what that does is it puts a bad people or taste in bad people's mouths, I think. And that's
Yeah.
reflective of the filmmaker. Like, whenever a movie is doing poorly and it's not succeeding and it has scandal, it's always the directors that they go after.
Mm-hmm.
But if a movie is successful and is doing great, it's always the actors everybody talks about and praises.
Oh yeah.
So if your movie is poorly represented and people feel like they're not getting your vision because of how it was sold to them, they're going to remember that as a bad movie, I think. And they're going to be less likely to support you, to watch your projects, to pay attention to the art that you're creating, because that one, oh yeah, that's that guy that made that one. You know which one I'm talking about. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's like that. So
Oh yeah. Well, I come from the times where I was, like I said, I've told this people, I've been a manager out of Hollywood Video for years,
mhm.
and I dealt with the movies that people would bring in, that we'd get movies that you'd never heard of, low budget indie movies, stuff like that, because they picked them up dirt cheap, and you know I've seen movies that were great. They were well put together. The special effects may not have been great because of the budget or even the actors. And then, something will come along. Somebody be like, oh, that guy's now in this movie. Oh, yeah, that's why that one movie was good. No, that movie was good because the people came together to make that movie. And one actor happened to go on to bigger things. I'm looking at Henry Cavill in Hellraiser. Uh, was it Hellworld,
Well,
I
but
think?
a lot of the people that we look at now who are major stars got their starts in straight to video horror. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Charlize Theron and Ava Mendes both starred in Children of the Corn sequels early in their careers.
Mm-hmm.
You just said Henry Cavill with Hellraiser. Viggo Mortensen was in Texas
Texas
Chainsaw
Chainsaw Massacre.
3. So it's
Love that.
like, well, and McConaughey and Zellweger in the fourth one. It's not uncommon to see
Nope.
that. So the reason why those movies last, though, and the reason why we still talk about those movies is because everybody understood the assignment. And they all got together and they made a really fun, like on brand piece of horror. So that's how we remember it. And I think that's what's happening a lot with indie movies. But we're still stuck in, I think, this phase right now where every jagoff with an iPhone can be a filmmaker and they can make a movie, and that's great. Go out and do the damned thing. That's what Shawn and I did. But don't hit the ground running so hard you're going to face plant. Take time, actually deliver the products you say you're going to be delivering, because it's creating this vacuum in the indie scene where it's so hard to fundraise movies because everybody's fundraising.
It's
Everyone is.
crazy right now.
And the ones that are succeeding are the ones who I find are delivering these undercooked concepts. So
I saw I'm just to chime in, but it's like
that's not, sorry, I just want to say, because we have a lot of friends fundraising right now. So I'm not talking about people specifically that
right.
might be considered shots fired or shade, whatever. But all I'm saying is a lot of people are getting the ability to make movies right now, and they're getting a lot of money thrown at them. And so while they're getting a lot of money thrown at them, it leaves a lot less at the table for people who are more willing to develop and deliver a quality product.
and to be honest, that's one of the things that's scary to me is because people are like, well, you've got your idea, you've got your what you want to do with the movie or with your ideas. I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, have you crowdfunded it yet? I'm like, no, because I don't have it really nailed down to what I want to do. Well, you get your money first, and then you can go from there. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I definitely, as I've said this before, I was like, yeah, I'm taking forever to make my first movie, but I want to make my first movie, and if it fucks up, it's going to be 100% me, my fault. I fucked it up because I snapped. Whatever. I don't want to fuck it up because of I was supposed to start shooting when COVID hit, and then COVID hit, and then I postponed everything, and then of all things, I was watching TV late one night and I found a movie that was really close to the idea I came up with. So I shit canned my entire idea. And, I could have been moving forward, had a budget and everything else like that. And then I'd been like, change the movie. Like Ryan said, it would have been a completely different movie than what I told people it was going to be to begin with, because I saw a movie that was too similar to it. I don't want to do that. So, have you
Well,
ever
guess
ran into
what?
that?
It's your first movie, Paul. Here's the tip. You're gonna fuck up.
See, I want it to be all my fault.
And it will be.
It was 100% my fault. That's what's going to be said at the end after credits. This is all due to Paul right there.
There are though. Speaking of like, I don't know if it's an undercooked idea. I don't know. I don't know what goes through some people's heads, but it's like, okay, for the campaign we're running right now, we didn't choose to do a video. We looked at our video stats from our most successful campaign to our least successful campaign, and still the max views on that video was like 175 views. Now, with that being said, there are some people though, like I watched 3 different crowdfunding campaigns within the last month, and I'm watching them and I'm like, this is all stock video. Like they just downloaded random video from stock sites and like put their story together. Like,
Ew,
I don't
really?
cheating, but it felt like cheating. Like,
I I watched a movie the other day. It could have been called Stock Footage, the movie, and you would have been like, yeah. I think probably out of like I think 70-minute runtime, I want to say maybe 20 minutes of it were not stock footage. It was ridiculous. I mean, yeah, it was lots of scenes like the ocean, and then it would like, sunrise and stuff like that. I'm like, they just buy all this, or do they go out and film any of this? Because I'm pretty sure I've seen this in another commercial.
right, like we may have to use stock footage every now and then for like
Transitions and second unit stuff.
Yeah,
yeah,
well, I mean,
the
seriously,
moonrise or
yeah. Well, you guys live in we live in Ohio. If you're filming a movie that takes place in fucking California, and you want to use the beach or something, you're going to use stock footage of the beach and stuff to put in
No, we're
there.
not. We're going out to Houston Woods.
We're going to have to use see, the worst part about it, I made the mistake of telling people that I now own a cabin in the woods uh on a lake in Michigan. And now everybody's
Which
like,
lake?
it's in Brighton, Michigan, and I think it's Friendship Lake, I think is what it's called. It's funny because if you go down to the lake and you walk like 100 yards, and there's a fence, but the fence kind of ends about 20 feet before you get to the lake. You go past that, that's a state park. It's 100% illegal to fish there. It's 100% illegal to cook, do all that.
Mm-hmm.
But you walk on my side, I can throw my boat in the water. I can fish. I don't need a license. I can build a bonfire. I don't have any problem with that. and it's all within just like this little narrow spot. But it's everybody goes, oh, it's a cabin in the woods. Like, yeah, it's not really. It's on the lake, and there's a woods kind of around there, but literally there's a house on one side, a house on the other side, and a house across the street. It's a residential cabin in the woods. But I guess if you filmed it right, you could definitely make it look like it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But but no, you like that. Like I've told people, I was like, well, I guess if I go up there, you could be right along with us. You could film all the footage you want, and then go back home and use whatever you need.
But see, Paul, if you have that, then take something and write a story for that location.
Yeah. Well, I wrote I wrote a story, and it takes place. I can do all the stuff, local. I can run it out of my shop. I can run it out of my house and stuff. It's one I've been working on forever, but now I've kind of got an end, and now I don't know what to do, because literally it was the name of the story was Life, Love, and the Pursuit of Giant Size X-Men 1. And it was about me and my wife and all the shit that I did, being alcoholic, and all the bullshit I went through, and finally getting my shit together and stuff like that. Well, the whole thing was I was always still looking for that Giant Size X-Men #1. Well, now I own one. Now I'm like, shit, my story's over. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I gotta make up some bullshit now. So now I gotta change it to the only last thing I need to get my holy trilogy of 5 things I've always wanted. I'm down to one thing, and that is a '77 Firebird Trans Am, black and gold. I will own one day. I have a Giant Size X-Men. I got that. I have a full set of Stormtrooper armor.
I've actually seen the screen used car that you just described.
I've seen
Love
it.
It was in the Hollywood Museum. I was out there with Shelley last summer, and up on the second floor, I think it's the second or third floor, all these exhibits of famous cars from shows with their costumes and stuff.
Mhm.
And not only did they have Smokey's car or the Bandit's car up there, they also had Adam West's Batmobile with some of the costumes and things. And then, this is off topic, but I was really geeking because right behind it was a display of all of the Catwoman costumes used in the movies up through Halle Berry. No, up through Anne Hathaway. They hadn't added Zoe Kravitz to it yet. So that was cool.
I am a total sucker for the Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman. That's I don't care.
To see a replica of it in person is insane because, when you see it on film, it looks stitched. But to see it in person, you're like, wow, that's paint. Like, they didn't stitch her. That was all hand painted X's with white to make it look like she'd been stitched.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool though. It's that's like I'm not gonna lie. I've ran into doing conventions and stuff. I've actually seen real movie props from like big budget movies, and I'm like, dude, that's a painted Nerf gun. What the hell?
Isn't it funny how small and inconsequential it looks in person?
Yeah. You're just like one of my favorite TV shows growing up was the original Battlestar Galactica. And I was at the booth, and this guy had one of the prop guns from Battlestar Galactica. And it was a hero gun, so it was one of the ones that was screen used and everything else. And I'm just looking at it, and I'm like, dude, this just looks like a toy that somebody spray painted black. It looks so cheap right up close to you, and you're just like, oh, that's disappointing. And
if you are ever in Washington D.C. and you're at the Smithsonian, and they have a pair of the ruby slippers there, and sad. That's all I'll say. Is it's sad.
we watched that documentary on the missing ruby slippers,
Mm-hmm.
and my wife Tina loves Wizard of Oz. And I mean, you watch him in the movie, and then you see him like even close up on just regular TV, and you're just like, that can't be the same shoe. It's
Right.
yeah. So,
But that's color grading and lighting and
oh yeah, because you can use Technicolor. They got Technicolor and make everything bright and shiny and pretty and beautiful.
which is the
Even
only
back,
reason why those shoes were red. Because in the
yeah,
book they're silver.
yeah. I was gonna say they're not even red in the
Mm-hmm.
books. Yeah.
Mm-mm. They just made them ruby red so that way they'd pop like that
Yep.
in Technicolor.
I love Technicolor.
Yep. I've had
There's
to do
some.
a lot of research on color and Technicolor and why things were picked to look the certain way they did for old Hollywood movies, because some people will note and comment like, oh gosh, like, would people really wear that in real life? And it's like, no, they wouldn't. It was just picked because it would look neat.
Oh yeah. Well, it's a lot of these costumes are so impractical. They're
Mm-hmm.
I go back, we were talking about Batman, the original Michael Keaton Batman. Dude, he couldn't turn his head. It just looked good on film.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do this. You got to move your whole body when you look the other direction. This is
Did
impractical
he
as
get
hell.
more mobility in the second one?
Yeah, he did, but it still was not great. It took until they got to Christian Bale before they able got the head really where he could move, all directions without it looking weird on film. So, and that's the dumb shit I know.
You're right. They have to turn with their shoulders.
Yeah. I'm gonna go look this way. I'm gonna look this way. I only had to do that when I dropped a couch on my head. And yes, I dropped the couch on
Wow.
my head. Actually, I did not drop the couch on my head. We were moving it. My buddy dropped the couch, and you ever go to the like an upstairs and you have that little area that's like a closet above it. I was pushing, and I got up like this. He drops it. I go back like this, so the whole couch hits me in the head between the wall and
Oh
I had to take like
God.
3 days off work because I couldn't turn my neck. It's like, how are you doing? I'm doing good. Fine.
Ooh, that's some really bad whiplash fall.
And the worst part about it is that I don't it didn't hurt very long, about 3 days, and now it's back to normal. It's just stiff. Now as I'm getting older, now I sound like a freaking box of Rice Krispies every time I move. It's like my buddy yells at me when we're at the gym. I work out, and all of a sudden he's like, "Was that you?" I'm like, "Yeah, that was me. That was my back." He's like, "You're making all kinds of noises." I'm old.
It happens.
Even though I'm the youngest of the two of us, but but he has to wuss out because he's got like he can't do any leg exercises. He has no cartilage in his knees. So I'm over there leg pressing. He's just sitting there. I'm like, I just make sure that chair doesn't get away. So get back to talking about movies. We're talking about random shit here. So I gotta ask, with the rise of now these free streaming networks like Tubi and Plex and stuff like that, has that changed the game for you guys?
I want to say yes. I can definitely say, like, Tubi hands down, like as far as the films that we have in distro and the films that we self-distribute, which are both on Tubi. Yeah, we make the most money off of Tubi, which I don't feel like we could have saw this coming, like a day and age to where people can watch movies for free and the filmmakers are still making money.
Yeah, that's shocking because I mean, what 5 years ago, everybody was worried because everybody's people were still pirating like
Right.
brand new movies that and I think and to be honest, it's as somebody who has pirated a movie in the past and stuff like that, I never pirated like a low budget indie film because I
Yeah.
always felt horrible because that's there's if I did a Marvel movie, it's one thing that's whatever because I'm still going to buy it eventually anyways. But with low budget, that one sale or one rental could mean more money for your next movie.
Right.
And I've always been one of the ones who I was, you know, like I said, I go back to when I worked at the video store. I was that advocate for indie horror and indie movies, period, when I worked there because I was the guy that, and worst part, I knew who would watch it and who wouldn't. Because you'd always have the people, oh, that's cheesy as shit. There's no money in that. I'm like, yeah. But you had them other guys like, you need to watch this movie, and this movie. And they're like, oh yeah, dude, that was awesome. Man, they didn't have no budget. Man, when they tore that top of that guy's head off, it looked so good. I'm like, exactly.
Well, it's
And
I don't
I'll say this, and I will say this till the day I die, is indie movies have the most heart. And indie horror has more heart than most. Because one is that there is money, but it's very little. Or next to none. So it's a passion project. Each one is a passion project. It's not that you're like, I'm a gun for hire. I got paid $20,000 to shoot this movie, and you have nothing in it. You have nothing. You don't have a horse in the race. You're just like, I went to work today. I filmed this movie and I went home. But now, if
right.
it's your movie, you have the horse in the race. You're the one directing it. You're going to put your ass into that because you want it to be better than what you want. What somebody told me this. It goes, you wanted to make a $20,000 movie look like it had $100,000 budget. And there are movies that have a $3 million budget that look like they have a $20,000 budget because
Right.
or they spent all their money on one actor and you had them for 3 days. I get it. That's not a thing. I understand that helps sell movies. I get it. Whatever. But I am also one of the people who believes that you shouldn't take away from your film or your art just to get, I won't even say any names, but to be a big time actor to be on set for 3 days and have him film his 10 minutes in the movie or her 10 minutes and go from there. Yes, I have legitimately written stuff with certain people in mind, but guess what? If I can't get them, I will definitely get somebody better and get them for, 1/10 of the budget of
Now,
that one person.
I feel like that's something I don't know that I can't say all indie filmmakers by any means, but like we're getting to a time where it's between crowdfunding and I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a method here. If you have several big names or even several small names in a film, it's going to help get a bigger upfront payout from distro. So you'll see I don't know, there's some films that'll crowdfund and have 10 B horror actors in it that'll all be in it for 3 to 5 minutes.
Yep.
It's it just
like Wishmaster.
it sucks because I feel like those things then change people's mind about independent film. It's like when they get that movie and they're like, this is, I would imagine, going to be awesome. It's got all these people in it. And then it's like all those people were in it for like 2 scenes because that's all they could afford those people for. And it's like, it's just damning a little bit.
Well, also, you get away from that whole fact is that if you bring a big name actor into a movie and they disappear or they're only in it like, oh, hey, he's, you got in blah, blah, blah. He's the bartender in one scene. Okay. But if you have a pretty much a unknown cast, one of the best things about that is you don't know who's going to die, what order they're going to die. It's not like you have it's not like you have 5 girls and then you have you actually were able to get Danielle Harris or somebody like that for the entire shoot. Danielle Harris is going to last till the end because you paid her a shit ton of money to be here.
Right.
So those other 4 girls are gone. But when you have 5 girls that most people don't know, people are like, they'll get invested in each of them, and then when they die, you're like, damn it, I like that one. I can't remember. Damn it, I was watching a movie the other day, and it was an indie film. It was all low budget. There's one dude in it. He was funny. I liked the character, everything. And I was like, I got invested in him. And I was like, yeah. And then he dies. I'm like, man, son of a bitch. The one I really liked. But now that insipid bitch over there, she's going to last to the end. She did. She did. So, and you can almost, I hate to say this, but there's certain movies that you can see that that the main girl, that's the director's girlfriend, or it's his wife, or it's or the girl he's trying to hook up with.
There's some out there like that for sure.
And I'm not saying that because I don't mean to shade towards anybody, because I know you worked with your ex-wife and stuff like that. That's whatever. Because you also, the only other thing about that is that you also know that person's going to work for you. If
Hell, that was because she was one hell of a liar, and I believed every moment. So that's why I went that route.
Oh man, what was it? We were watching something. They're like, "Oh yeah, be careful, the woman's a monster." And I'm like, "Isn't that every woman?" Everybody just looks at me and went, "What did you just say?" I was like, "I don't know. That's just me. That's what I had to say today." As I say that stuff around my wife, and my wife just looks at me, and I'm like, I'm not really. She's like, "I know. Shut up." Oh, that's also what happens when you've been together for 30 years too. So I can give her all kinds of shit and she gives me shit. But we're also the first 2 people that will finish each other's sentences or go, "That guy looks like," and we'll look into think, "Oh yeah, you were thinking the same thing." Yeah, I was definitely thinking. I damn. I don't know. Are you guys, either one of you, watching Yellow Jackets?
I watched the first season, but I don't want to pay for Showtime again.
Oh, it's part of my Spectrum app, so I just watch it on there. But me and her got really into that, and we're just like, I was like, man, it's like, when did Rose from freaking 2.5 Men? She got really good at acting. I was like, or has she just always been crazy? Maybe the whole Rose thing is not. Nope. Well, Ryan, you're silent again. Nope. There we go.
I said Melanie Linsky is always been very talented actor. Always.
Well, that's like Tina did not know that she was in was it Beautiful Creatures?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she did not know she was from New Zealand, and we were watching the behind the interview thing, and all of a sudden her voice comes out, and Tina just looks at me and goes, "Is it?" I was like, "Yeah, she's from New Zealand, right?" And she's like, "No," and I was like, "She worked with Peter Jackson and stuff," and she's like, "I was like, her legit first kiss was Kate Winslet from Titanic." What?
But also, she was in like Ever After and Sweet Home Alabama
Oh
and
yeah, she was in Sweet Home Alabama. Although I never finished Sweet
Coyote
Home,
Ugly.
so I'm sorry, it was
I
bad.
feel like I feel like Coyote Ugly would be the one though that you should remember her from, Paul. I feel like that's your movie.
I
It's one of your
remember
favorites.
it was so bad when Tina talked me into watching Sweet Home Alabama, and I'm sitting there watching it with her, and I'm legitimately I'm so out of I don't really care, and it's bad because I do not like what Renee not Renee Zellweger
Reese
Reese
Witherspoon.
Witherspoon. And I'm like, is it bad that I want the two guys that are fascinated with her to end up together and just leave her behind? Because that character is not likable at all.
She really wasn't though.
No. And then I think we end up watching something else, but it was one of the ones we started watching it, and she goes, "Can I turn this off?" I was like, "Yes, you can most certainly turn that movie off." Uh, so I have to ask. This has nothing to do with the movie. Have you ever sat down, either one of you, started watching a movie and just got in there like, "Yeah, no, this is bullshit. I am done," and walked
Yeah,
away?
2 days ago.
I was about to be like, did we just do that yesterday or something?
What
Yeah,
was
what
it?
were we watching?
I don't even remember.
That bad?
And it was
So,
something new that everybody's been watching, and we turned it on, and I was like, Shawn, I have no idea what's going on.
okay.
You
So
didn't either. I can't remember what it was, but
Was
see,
it on Peacock? I
was it
really don't remember.
was it
that's
was
how
it was it
important it
was it
was, Paul.
was it knock at the cabin? The knock at the cabin door? It was
No,
on
I'll
Peacock.
finish that.
Okay.
Ugh.
I just watched that the other day. I watched Cocaine Bear last night. Um, and it was it something in the grass or in the. I'm trying to think of the movies that were just on there because they put Megan on there. Um, there's another horror movie like something about.
No, it was. I can't remember.
Well, we didn't buy it, so it wouldn't have been on Vudu.
No.
I'm trying to go through the apps we like mainly use.
Was it on Paramount Plus?
No, because that one we kind of only use it for TV shows.
I only use Paramount Plus for Star Trek.
Um, it had to.
I think it was on Netflix. Either way,
By
whatever it
yeah.
was.
Oh, okay. Well, definitely you've walked away from a movie recently,
Yeah.
and so I also got to ask because me and my son when we went and seen Renfield the other day, they had a new A24 movie at the beginning of the at the trailers. Um, how do you guys feel about people now like, oh, that's smart horror or art horror? What do you guys think about that? I
Um,
one of the people
I think
that
it's always been around. I
well,
just
yeah.
think that people are looking at it cross-eyed now because there's other ways to describe the genre, elevated horror. You just, it's always been there. It's always been around, especially in Europe. So it's nothing new. It's just what's trendy right now. I'm not knocking it necessarily. I've seen some of them that I think are really good. Um, like for instance, I watched Midsummer, and I only have to watch that movie one time in my life. I never have to see that again because it's burned in your brain.
I've not watched Midsummer for the simple fact is that I didn't like Hereditary. and people give me shit about that, but I did not like that movie. I it's
Midsummer just it catches you by surprise.
and at this point though, it's I already know how everything ends because everybody's ruined it. So it's like, do I really need to watch it? I just
Yeah,
never got.
I even knew going in, and I still watched it, and I was still disturbed. But I'm never gonna watch it again.
Right. I felt Midsummer was better than Hereditary. Hereditary took a turn that,
Literally into a pole.
well,
I was like, my whole thing is that how is that kid not in jail?
Amongst many other questions that we found ourselves asking when watching Hereditary.
Have you seen the meme with Cher from Clueless going and like looking behind her and it says Hereditary?
My bad.
It makes me laugh every time. But no, it's
But yeah, to answer your question, Paul, I do not have a problem with the more moodier, artsier side of horror at all. I think people need to stop acting like so hateful about it because it's been around for a long time.
well, that's like people talk about, oh, slow burn movies, those are new. I'm like, really? Man, I've been watching slow burn horror movies since I was a kid. And I'm rapidly approaching 50, so that was a long time ago. So
But there are so many classic movies that people love that in their time were considered slow burns. Like, not as though the movie Halloween was like a breakneck speed thriller. Like, that is a slow burn.
oh yeah.
Not much happens until the sun goes down.
Well, somebody pointed out to me one time is he goes, Halloween's a Western.
Yeah, I could see that.
The bad guys
But
coming.
also that makes sense because John Carpenter loves his westerns.
Yep. And I looked it up. I found I don't think I own it anymore, but I had a book and it was taught the making of Halloween, and it talks about how he wrote it as a Western. It's the bad guys coming, the bad guys here, bad guy takes out people, then you have the showdown at the end in the movie. Good guy wins, bad guy loses. So it's I don't know. Part of me thinks that there's too much out there, but then the other part of my brain goes, maybe there's not enough out there. Does that make sense? I don't I think with, like you said, with easy access, I can legitimately go outside right now, take my phone and record and make a movie. I have the editing software on my computer. I can shoot a movie, have it done in a day and have it finished, in a week. And yeah, you got that. But then you get a lot more people making movies. Yeah, you're going to get a lot more bad, but the chance of now getting good movies has now gone up because just the sheer amount, of people out there doing it, there's going to be better movies. So I'm an old school guy, grew up on the video store. And if I've told people this, I was like, if you'd have told 14-year-old Paul that he was just going to be able to go in and turn on a TV and watch whatever I wanted to watch, whenever I wanted to watch it, I would be a 400-pound albino that still lived in my parents' house. So I would have never stepped outside. I'm like, I'm going to watch another movie. My mom would have never kicked me out. My stepdad would have tried, but my mom wouldn't have. But
I'm still in my head. I'm focused on what that movie was that we shut off. I've narrowed it down to Peacock. We were on Peacock.
Well, it was on Peacock. See, that's another thing I do like now that everything's streaming. So I don't feel like I'm ripping myself off if like halfway through a movie I'm like, yeah, this movie sucks, and I just shut it off and go to another movie. If I rented a movie or if I actually went and got a videotape or a DVD, I felt like, well, I put effort into it. Going to go finish watching this movie. And
right, it's not paid for Strangers Pray at Night and then felt ripped off at the end.
Oh, God, was it how the Howling 4? I think was the one that irritated the shit out of me as an adult, because it's the one where the werewolf never shows up to the last like 3 seconds of the movie.
Was that the marsupial one?
No, the marsupial one's just batshit insane.
Right.
Yeah, Australian made howling movie with marsupial werewolves, and no, it's I want to say it's like Howling the Original Nightmare or something like that, or the original. Damn it. While I'm talking about this, how do you feel about everybody now making Amityville movies or making the American insert name here? So I've been going through, there was like American, and then there was like American Haunted House, American Werewolf, American Vampire, American Ripper, or stuff like that. And you're like, I get the fact that it's an A, so it'll show up at the top of lists. But why would you put American?
I mean, but alpha stacking, I mean, I don't know. For me, it's like well, the Amityville movies. It's like, oh my God, how many Amityville movies are there? There's an Amityville Sasquatch.
I seen one called
There's
Amityville Moon. There's an Amityville werewolf.
Amityville Backpack.
The Amityville Shark.
There's Amityville Vibrators.
That makes sense, at least, because it's. But, and then you get the see, the one I thought that you couldn't use was because now there's just a shit ton of Ouija movies, and I thought that was owned by Hasbro, because the two Ouija movies that appear in the theaters have, Hasbro's name attached, because they own the rights to produce the. And by the way, it is Howling 4, the original Nightmare. There it is. Maybe that's got to be moves to a small town suffering mental breakdown, tormented by demons and werewolves. Maybe that's it. I think that's the one where the werewolf legitimately shows up in the last 3 seconds of the movie. It literally like jumps out of a wall. You see the werewolf, movie ends. So the rest of it's taken from Werewolf Vision, so it like does that weird color change.
Like POV.
Yeah, the weird color change POV when it's the werewolf. Yeah. So, but I just, and I get that some of the movies are just fun, but there's all these, and like I said, there's ones that I didn't know you could get away with by using the weird Ouija without it being, like Hasbro going, no. So
I think that's because Hasbro did not invent the talking board.
Well, they didn't invent G.I. Joe either, but
G.I. Joe is a specific character.
that's G.I. Joe is the name of the team. And
so I went to when I was in Salem, I went to the Spirit Board Museum. And yes, so Parker Brothers created the Ouija game.
Yeah.
Which Hasbro eventually bought.
Mm-hmm.
But they did not invent talking boards. They did not invent Ouija. So you can, I think, get away with it as long as it does not look like one of Hasbro's products. That's the catch.
Nah. See, I could legitimately take care of that myself, because ironically enough, I don't believe Ouija boards work. My wife does, and I buy them all the time. I've probably got like 10 or 12 of them, and none of them are. The only new ones I've bought are the ones I've bought for Tina. Like I just bought her the Silver Shamrock glow in the dark one at Horror Hound, so she has that one. But now I have one that's right about 100 years old, and it's Egyptian themed. And instead of going like the board this way, the board goes this way. So you got it's long ways instead of width ways, and it's
I tell you what. you ever looking to get rid of that thing, you got to talk to the folks in Salem, because like legitimately they go out of their way to like acquire interesting, unique pieces for the Spirit Board Museum. I bought a 1970 edition of Ouija that was made in Salem while I was there.
Well, the one, I mean, it's way back there. If you can see the Power Ranger helmets here, above that is a Ouija board, and that's from, I think, the 40s. So that's one of the early Parker Brothers versions. So, and
do you know why Ouija was so popular?
Well, that was during that whole time when spiritualism was really, really big in America.
Well, yeah, but the school of thought is Ouija only works if there's a man and a woman operating the board together alone in a room.
To get people to hook up.
It was the only way they could like get together and like put their knees together and touch their hands and like be intimate without a chaperone.
Wow. I didn't even think about that. That's crazy.
And I learned that at the museum because there's a whole like little display about it. And there's a picture, I believe Norman Rockwell painted it, of a couple sitting at a cute little like wire cafe table, and their knees are together and they're touching, and the girl looks all coquettish. And it was just talking like about the history about how people played Ouija because it was an excuse to physically touch someone.
That's insane. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this. I have a great story connected to the almost 100-year-old board I have, because I got it through the shop. It was found in an abandoned house north of Sydney. It gets better, with a doll in a closet.
How cool.
And the guy brings them in. He goes, "You buy weird stuff, right?" At the time, I had, I think I still had a children's coffin at the shop, and I had some like weird taxidermied things still floating around. And he's like, "Yeah," he goes, I got a Ouija board, and I got this doll." And I was like, "Let me see the Ouija board." And he brings it in, and it had gotten a little water damaged at the bottom, and it smelt bad. But I'm like, man, I think I can salvage this. I think I can do something with it. I can clean it up and get rid of the smell. And he's like, all right. He goes, well, he goes, it was in a closet with a doll. And I'm like, all right, well, let's see the doll. And he brings this doll in. It's still in the box. It's got one of the ones where it's got the you take the box lid, you kind of flip it around it, and it's got all the old, almost look like Victorian clothes on and stuff like that. And it still looked really nice, but it had gotten so mildewy and moldy that it stunk so bad that I didn't want it. And I'm like, man, part of me wishes I would have kept it just to have the story. And I'd put it in a case and put it up front, and people ask about it. It's like, where'd that come out? It come out of a haunted house. That'd been my story from then on.
Did it have a planchette with it, or was it just the board?
It was just the board. I don't have a planchette. I probably got 12 boards, and I think I have maybe 4 or 5 planchettes, because those always got lost. And then I found out some of them just did not come with one, because you used a drinking glass. You used like a rocks glass, and so it never had a planchette to begin with. So, and then of course I've ordered the Buffy the Vampire Slayer one, and I've ordered the Elvira one through Diamond at least 5 times each, and I've never got the first one. It's a good thing I don't pay for that shit in advance, because I'd be pissed. But I probably should just go ahead and order them off of Amazon at this point, just to make sure I get them.
Right.
But yeah, I get really kind of weird stuff through the shop from time to time. Like, I've gotten a couple Ouija boards through the shop, and there's literally one still sitting there, and it's on top of an arcade cabinet. And people are like, "Is that real?" I'm like, "Yeah." "And you stay with it in the shop?" I'm like, "Yeah." "You're not worried about it?" I'm like, no, I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about the toy from Parker Brothers bringing a demon into my house.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if it was anything, that would be, I have No, it's not even on this bookshelf. I have a almost 100-year-old book on demonology and witchcraft. I have all this stuff like that, and they're like, "You worried about that?" Not worried about that.
Hey, Sean, you should show Paul what I got you from Salem.
No, no.
I think he'll appreciate it.
Nope. It is on a different
Is
bookshelf.
it behind Dracula?
Is it behind Dracula? Let's see.
So to start this out, Ouija boards, whatever. No, thank you. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm good. There's certain things that I'm just weird about. And I feel like some people would be weird about this item that I'm about to show, but I'm not.
Oh, the Baphomet statue.
Yeah.
I have one. No, sorry. I don't have it anymore. I gave it to my buddy Brent. So I do not have one anymore. I do have a ram's head on the wall though. I do have a legit ram's head on the wall.
I saw that in a shop, and like I had jokingly told Sean like I was gonna bring him a Baphomet statue from Salem. He was like, "Nah." I mean, well, actually, I'd take one of them. That'd be cool. And I saw that one. I was like, "All right." And it was like that statue was $45, or I could get him a cute little baby goat plushie for 40.
Get the cool statue.
I was like, I'm gonna get that cool little statue. So some people have seen it in the house and have asked questions.
Oh, my mom is like
Convinced.
I don't want to say that she is the most Christian I know. And I know she won't watch this, but she believes she is in her head, to where she saw this and she was like, it took her a couple days, but then she was like, so is that what you believe in? I'm like, no, it looks cool. Like, I don't have like, I do have a pentagram flag, but not like hung up. It was a bonus thing for something I bought. But, you know, I'm not running around here and being like, Satan.
Well, hey, I was I don't know if I was out of high school yet when my dad finally asked me. We're sitting at a restaurant one day, and no, I had to be out of high school because I was wearing a white zombie t-shirt, and he looks at me and he's like, "Can I ask you a question?" I'm like, sure. Wondering where this is gonna go, and he's like, "Are you a devil worshiper?" And I went, "Yeah, Dad. Yeah, I worship devil in my free time." I'm like, "No, I don't believe in the devil. I don't believe." I was like, I've actually I've been called the devil. There's a woman that I worked with legit to this day still swears to people that I am the devil and that I was brought here to test her. And I went, "Hey, that's awful arrogant of you to think that I, the devil, got a job in Piqua in a shitty factory just to screw with you."
I feel I feel that about my youngest son sometimes, but that's also because there for a while he would introduce himself as the devil, which was fun, like meeting new people. Hi, I'm the devil. Like it was weird, but
Well, you know, it's like I get people because we got Vincent, and everybody's like, "Why do you name Vincent Vincent?" And I make up a different story every time. And of course, we say Vincent Price, we say Vinnie Paul from Pantera. I've even said Alice Cooper because Alice Cooper's real name is Vincent. I just go through all this thing, and they're like, "Really? No, just a name." It's just
right, like
And it, it's like people ask me now because I don't know if my cats are floating around here anywhere. I got Mazikeen, which is my cat, and Lucy Purr, which is my wife's cat. So we have Lucy Purr the cat, and we have Mazikeen the cat. But then we got our dogs, Courage, Abby, and Lulu. And I'm a badass, so I got to roll around with my corgis. When you see me, that's not the dog you assume I'm going to own. Is my corgis. And I had a guy years ago. He goes, "Yeah, I saw this guy walking a dog at like 1 o'clock in the morning." And this is when I still had like long black, hair and black leather coat. And I'm out there. He goes, "Yeah, well, guy was walking this dog at like 1 o'clock in the morning." And I looked down at the corgi and I realized it was you. And I'm like, yeah, my dog's got to go outside, dude.
Right.
Shit, we get way off topic here. So what other projects do you guys got working on? You got anything else coming after the current Indiegogo stuff?
I mean, I feel we have projects, but nothing like,
Immediate.
yeah.
But we just released She Burns Chapter 3 on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Well, I had talked to you because we were going to do the horror host. Your She Burns in Hell, and then you gave me the okay, and then you told then I found out 3 was coming out, so I was like, okay, well I'll postpone that until 3 comes out, and then I'll put that with that together because I'm doing Friday the 13th fan film, and then we were going to do yours, so and that's why.
Cool.
And hopefully because that's me and Tina, our show together, which I've actually conned Tina into working with me on my shows, but I have to work with her on her schedule. So it's not one I put out monthly. It's one I put out whenever I can get Tina to help set up the set, because I have to cover up all this bullshit I have sitting over here, and then bring in we have the candles and the ram's head and it's funny because the last one is that my wife, for those who know, is my wife is a witch. She's a pagan witch, legit, whatever. And so the show is called The Doctor and the Witch. And I'm sitting there because me and her, she's arguing with me and she's giving me shit. So I just hold up a book and I'm starting reading it, and it's the Malus Maleficarum. And I was like, how to deal with it, pissed off witch wife. And she just looks over, she's, that's not even right. And I go, I know. And I just keep going. And I was like, none of that was planned. That was just a book I happened to have on for the set. And I picked it up and people were like, was it planned? I was like, no, not planned in remotely. It was just something I just happened to have close by. And shit. But no, we're gonna do that. We're gonna put the show together, and when me and her work can get everything, and also I'm trying to find a building that I can actually set up as a studio and a storage area, and that way I don't have to fuck with setting up my shows. I can just go there, film everything, and then everybody won't think that they're like, oh, you filmed that at your shop. I'm like, no, that's just my room, all my junk in it. Hey, but it's my junk and I earned it. So but I gotta ask, because I've asked this of everybody, and I think I missed this the first time I talked to you guys. What is your go-to movie that when you talk to people for the first time, you tell them that this is the movie they need to watch?
Like someone who's never like
someone who doesn't know you, you've got to tell them like you're like your movie that you love, that it will they will associate you with that movie from then on. If they want to get to know you, they got to know that movie.
I think for me, that's probably inadvertently Scream. a lot of people think of me when they think of that movie.
I could see that.
Wait, maybe I'm okay. So it's not a movie that we made.
Not a movie you've made.
Okay. I'm fine with the Monster Squad or Critters. One of those.
I thought it would be Behind the Green Door.
I don't know what that is.
It's a very legendary mainstream porn film from the 70s.
Yeah, because it was what almost immediately after Deep Throat that movie hit big.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember right.
Was that Marilyn Chambers?
Yeah, because they brought her because they made a big deal because they had the what she was Purex or something like that girl or something like that when she was a baby,
Mm-hmm.
and they made a big deal about having the pure girl be in the movie. So I've got to ask this too. It's been a while, so I've got to change. I got to. Money's no object. You can hire whoever you want for these two movies you're working on. Who are you hiring?
Wow.
That's kind of fucked up to ask me because that means I'm out of a job.
No, it doesn't mean that you're out of a job. That means somebody else is out of a job. No, you can bring
Um,
them in for anything. You can make a whole new character for that person.
fuck, I don't know. I feel like I can put DB Sweeney somewhere in there. Uh, um, I would have to say for the devil you know, I really saw like in my head like for the bad guy, someone along the lines of like just lost his fucking name. It was there.
What movies he's been in?
This is Sparta.
Oh, Gerard Butler.
Gerard Butler. I had like a guy kind of like him, but meaner, like meaner than you've ever seen Gerard Butler be.
I loved him at Cop Shop. If you haven't seen that, it's on Peacock. It's a throwback to like an 80s um action movie type thing. It's pretty fun. I enjoyed the hell out of it. So, Ryan, your turn.
I
Nobody?
can't speak to this. No, I can't speak to this because, like,
Okay. So for your next movie, you can hire anybody. Who you hiring?
I need to know the answer to this because we have gone through so many people for like starlets to where it make if he can only choose one.
Linda Hamilton.
Linda Hamilton. I really liked Linda Hamilton because she went from being the love interest in Beauty and the Beast to being the badass in Terminator 2 in a very short amount of time. And that is a massive range right there. And I also love her on Resident Alien if you haven't watched her on that.
I just think she's super cool and just one of those people that is really undervalued what she can do.
And I tell you,
So, yep. Linda Hamilton is my choice, hands down.
Linda Hamilton. Good choice.
Mm-hmm.
So with putting out these movies, working on everything, the fact that you've done Project Mothman, how much of Project Mothman do you have done, percentage wise? Do you believe?
I feel like we have it changes every time I talk about this, but I feel comfortable at saying 70% because really I think we have about 4 days of filming left at max.
Now, do you, does this give anything? I don't, if this gives anything away, just tell me no. What, do you have do you have a Mothman costume?
We are in the process of building it because that's the thing. At first, I had one way that I was going to go about filming Mothman, and Mothman was going to be more, I don't want to say paranormal or supernatural, but like it was something that kind of got in your head to where you didn't see like a full embodiment of Mothman. And a lot of that had to do with, I mean, budget. It's like not everybody can afford to make a 7 foot tall Mothman suit.
Well, the I know this is bad, but I always like, from going back and watching these old documentaries on Mothman and stuff like that. I think the humanoid shape with the glowing red eyes, where it's almost always black, with just like the kind of the silhouette with the black with just the burning red eyes. I thought that's creepier than any monster that you could have, because to be honest, Mothman could be very goofy looking if because I mean, yeah, I've seen ones that look really, really good, and then I've seen ones where you're just like, oh, that's a Power Ranger villain. That's and that's, I
The
mean, that's the best explanation of this character. I'm like, wow, somebody just stole some costumes from the Power Rangers and made a Mothman costume.
the costume in the Mothman Museum, the one that you always see in photos and whatnot, that is the perfect way of describing it. It looks like a Power Rangers villain. To where like, no, this suit, like, it's got feathers, it's got some fur, it's got some just creepy skin. It's it was really hard because there are so many variations of Mothman. Like
Yeah,
some Mothman has a beak, sometimes it doesn't, to where it's like I've known from day one I didn't want it to have a mouth. Like I just feel a mouth could be done in the wrong way and it just come off comical
yeah. I
to where it's, yeah, I want to really play to the red glowing eyes. But there's a couple points to where, because I mean, this does get to be found footage to where, like, for example, somebody trips and drops their camera and the camera rolls. And like, you can see the person, they reach for the camera. As they reach for the camera, like literally, like leaves on the ground start to fly as you hear wings come in and you see like feet grab this guy and pull him up. And then it goes to the camera's point of view as he's getting drug up or blown away, and then he drops the camera. So it's like we're trying to play as much into practical as we possibly can. Like, because I feel like anymore CGI and special effects like that, literally, there's websites that I could go buy a Mothman that looks awesome and have somebody 3D rig it to where it can move however I want it to and everything. If you want to spend like $2,000 to do that, I mean, that's an option. But I just,
yeah,
there's something in it. Physically building and being a part of that building process, it's like you were talking earlier, it's more about the passion. I'm
mm-hmm.
not trying to make some gimmicky thing with some CGI bastard to just try to make some money. Like,
Yeah.
I care about Mothman. Like, as weird as that says to say out loud, but it's like, I want this to be a good representation because there aren't many Mothman movies out there.
There's not. I mean, there's quite a few documentaries.
Right.
There's very few horror movies that have the Mothman in them. And I just watched one 2 weeks ago maybe, and you never see the monster at all. And it's Mothman something. I want to say it was one of the ones that was on Plex or Tubi, like I said. And you never see the monster. You see the eyes and then people disappearing, whatever. But yeah, that can be scary. But I think you need to at least see most of the monster once. You know what I'm saying?
I can tell you that there's one shot in there that you will see full on Mothman, and our actor is on stilts. So it's going to go from being low to raise up. So you're going to see it go from like 5 to 7 feet. Like, and it's going to be kind of intimidating. Like,
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Now is that a big chunk of what you're raising money for, is to build the suit?
Between building the suit and, I mean, granted, it's only a weekend, but the location cost and then feeding everybody, like, a lot of people don't realize this, but a huge chunk of a budget is just feeding people.
Okay.
I mean, you're looking at depending on how you want to treat your people, you're looking at anywhere between $2 to $4 grand in just like a week-long shoot of just food.
Yeah. Somebody told me that they figure 1/5 of your budget is just to feed your cast. And I was like, that's a lot. And he's like, no, it's not when you think about it, because when you got 20 people or whatever, and you're feeding them 3 meals a day, even 2 meals a day, that adds up quickly. And I'm like,
Right.
Yeah, it does.
You got to have somebody who's preparing that food, like, because depending on what it is, it's not like you can just end shooting early to go make some food.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have to pay somebody to be on set to be cooking dinner while you're over there filming. They're cooking and
right.
Yeah. So, or you just do the buffet way, so you get lots of pasta and chicken. Lots of pasta and chicken.
Don't get me wrong. There's normally some pre-made like meals in big aluminum tins and whatnot that we just reheat. But yeah, I'd say my best experience with that was on Don't Fuck in the Woods 2. I think it was about $2,300, and we were shooting for a week. And basically, we shot at a campground, and they had a kitchen there. They prepared everything. They just said, "Hey, let us know what times you want to eat each day, and we'll have your meal ready." That was awesome. That was the closest I've felt to being on like a major motion picture.
So that's got to be, because I couldn't imagine trying to put together a movie. I'll write stuff and I'll put stuff together and I'll plan out things, but like I could, I wouldn't even think about, oh, I got to feed the people today. Oh, I got to do this and stuff. Everybody be showing up. I'm like, we're gonna film this movie, and then like 4 hours, 5, 6, 7 hours in, they're like, are we getting food? What now? Oh shit,
Right.
You guys want to eat?
Right, and I'm one of those people, like, I can go with eating like once a day, to where it's like if I'm like invested in something, I'm not worried about eating. So I tell everybody, like, listen, bring snacks. Just bring snacks. If you need a pick me up, we'll do that, because if good things are happening, it just really sucks to have to stop.
I was going to ask you about that. That would have to be hard to walk away when you really got a scene going, or you really got everybody in the zone, and you're just, and then all of a sudden it's like, man, we should stop and eat. Do you want to stop and eat, or do you just keep going because you're in the zone? You just, people are really got their character down pat that day and everything else like
Right.
that. You're like, hey, walk over and eat a power bar and get an energy drink. I'll be back. uh, the with putting all these movies together I mean, you guys just had your anniversary recently, right? At your 15 years. That's pretty
We're
damn.
I think
You're got to be like 17
oh
or
we're
at
at
least
12 now.
12. Okay, so you had your 10th anniversary a while back, and your 10.
Yeah.
That's a lot, and you guys have put out a lot of material in essentially a relatively short amount of time. But
There was a while there to where we were on a roll. We were just
oh yeah,
for sure.
because I remember uh Midsummer's Nightmare. Watch this. Uh Legend.
Yeah,
Uh
I want to say we did like 5 or 6 films in like what, a
like
3-year period.
yeah, you guys are pounding them out there for a while. And I gotta ask, do you guys ever have problems like I know everybody wants to be in movies, and this is the one thing I run into because I'm like, oh, I want to put a movie together. Of course, you have everybody that comes out of the woodwork. I'll be in your movie, dude. You can't act like you're sober, so I don't want. And I hate to say this, I had a one friend, and he was like, I can be in your movie. I'm like, no, why not? I'm like, I, I don't have a part for you, and I didn't want to be mean and be like, dude, you can't act like no. You can't be left alone for 5 seconds, more or less trying to be another person for 5 minutes. So, um, and I do, and I gotta ask this because I've seen this recently with just so many people putting out movies right now or working on movies right now. Are you having any problems with just getting talent? Period. Nope.
I don't feel like talent's really been an issue. Um,
Or I mean, I guess not talent so much, but just the people to work on it, like your special effects people or costumes and stuff like that. Because
I
I've
mean, a
talked to a
good
couple people.
special guy is or person is hard to find. Um, but I feel like over the last probably 5 years, we've gotten to where we found people that we know that not only we rely on, but put out good qualities.
Now, I've talked to some other people about this. Um, if you're a director and you work with the same people over and over and over again, um, does it ever feel like that people get used to those people in your movies, so they know what that character's going to be? Do you try to move away from that? Do you try to like, okay, well, this I want to. Yes, I love you. You're a great person. I don't want to put you in this movie, or anything like that, because you don't want to oversaturate with the same people over and over again. Because I've noticed that, and I know it's bad, but legitimately, while I do stuff at night, and while I'm editing or stuff like that, I'll leave movies on, or while I'm reading, I'll leave a movie on, and I see these low budget movies, and you see the same like two people. It's usually the guy and the girl, roughly playing the same character in a lot of movies, and you're like, and I looked and I'm like, okay, that movie was directed by the same guy, but that movie wasn't directed by the same guy. But yet the two people are pretty much the exact same characters in every movie they're in. Do you ever, I mean, do you ever worry about that? Just, I mean, because
No.
no, and I've said this before, but man, we're in a pretty talent filled area, and strictly with the amount of low budget horror movies and stuff like that, and the actors and actresses. You know, you Ryan, you work a lot with Brittany, and she's really good, Blanton, and um, she when she played Carrie. Um,
Yes, I have
yeah,
worked with Miss Blanton a few times,
yeah,
but I think Shawn has actually worked with her more.
okay. I want to say it because it was literally like the last thing I watched
No,
was
no,
yeah.
I understand what you're saying. It's like, but I know for me, when I use someone that I have worked with in the past, it's generally because I know what I can get from them as a
You can
director
rely
to an
on them.
actor. And so it goes beyond reliability. It's more I know that they're going to do their research and figure out their character and show up. And so no, I don't feel like, at least for me, when this company has um, brought back people from previous projects to work either in a mix or together again, I don't feel like they're hitting replay at all, playing similar characters. But I can't speak to like what they do outside of their work for us.
Okay, because like I said, it's not. I'm not putting anybody down. I don't want to put nobody down. I
No,
don't want to put, and like I said, it's nobody that I seen locally. It's seeing low budget movies, and you'll see you'll start noticing the same actors and actresses popping up here and there. And I know that's bad, but
but Paul,
um,
you should also try to think about like maybe the region the movies were made in.
yeah, that's true.
Like, so, we're in Ohio, so we're going to kind of be within that network of the like Columbus and Cincy film scenes.
Hmm.
Doesn't seem like there's really much of one in Cincinnati per se. It's more across the river into northern Kentucky where there's more of a film scene and western Kentucky. So, just think about the region. Like, if you see, for instance, maybe like Jason Crow and a few things, chances are those movies were made in the Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio region.
Okay, because
Is that fair
it's
to say, Shawn?
Yeah.
So it might not be a matter of people are just getting overused. It's literally a matter of geography.
that's true. Yeah, it's you only have we're in a small. Yes, there's a lot of people here making films, but there's a small area because we're not that populated. Yeah, so it's
And
it.
it goes kind of circles back to budget. Well, if you want to work with somebody else who's from a further distance away, well, then that's usually going to involve airfare. And so it goes into a grander scale of bringing somebody in. There are so many lovely talents that I know personally that I want to work with all the time, but they live in Los Angeles and their time is very valuable to me. So lining up a schedule, flying somebody from the West Coast to come out and fuck around on one of our sets for a couple of days, that's a lot of money for how little they're needed.
Yeah. Now,
And so that's a question of the money, like, oh gosh, am I spending this money right? Or does it need to be somebody else and that remainder be redistributed for the better of the budget?
understandable, completely understandable. Now, do you guys ever look for talent like I know it's as bad as I didn't even know these existed. Well, I guess I didn't. I can't say I did not know they existed. Um, but I did an interview with an actress, and went to her page, found her sizzle reel, whatever you want to call it now. And I'm like, oh, do you ever actively like go out and look at any of those, or do you just
I see them if they're sent to me,
mm,
or if I'm looking at an actor and I'm just like YouTubing them just to see if there is a trailer or a scene from something they've done. Not
okay?
everybody has like not everybody has a demo reel. Not everyone has one.
That,
Um,
that just seems
because
like
with this
something.
digital age, like I mean, I think if you're going through the casting process, it's good to have one. I
Yeah.
know you definitely need one at a more larger mainstream level,
Hmm.
but most of the people that submit to us, they don't have demo reels. They'll just send trailers. They'll send clips that they've either been given, or I've had people send me clips that they take of their work with their phone on a TV. Or, you know, there's no video like that. It's either an audition or, the casting process is different, I think, for us because I don't look for all that stuff specifically. And chances are, if I'm looking at someone, I've seen them in something before.
Now, I got to ask you because somebody pointed this out um, to me because I don't, I'm not out to act or anything. But they're like, people might go after you because, I do talk to actors, actresses, I talk to writers, directors, I talk to all these people like that. And then I do my other shows. I have a built-in audience that I have a built-in, I guess I got a brand is what I think what they said.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, is that even a thing that you would even look at? I mean, no,
Yes.
I mean, I don't know
Oh,
if that would,
yes.
what? Sorry, I missed
Yes.
it. Yes. Okay. Because,
That is something that's taken into consideration. Like, we have met people along the way who have auditioned for things that were definitely higher profile projects. And I know specifically of one person who had auditioned years ago for American Horror Story, and they didn't get the part because they didn't have enough presence on social media to bring attention to this show.
it's
And it's like the person wasn't even being eyed for a long-term stint on the show. I do believe it was like one episode, but I'm just saying that casting directors now have to take that stuff into consideration. Like, how much more traffic are we going to get online with this person's presence?
okay. So
It's all
that it
about
is
likes, clicks, shares.
okay. So I didn't know if it was like kind of like bullshit or not, but yeah, that explains a lot. I mean, yeah, I
I mean,
kind of
Sean's
get.
seeing the power of social media right now with, and he should speak on this because it definitely is an issue that he is personally seeing. But we've had it before where suppression software on social media really mutes his flow when they know that he's crowdfunding. And right now, it's just been suspiciously low stream counts for him.
Hmm,
Like when he's going live to talk about his project, he's not getting the touch, the reach that he used to,
hmm.
or that he normally does. Like I think sometimes Sean can just pop on Facebook just to pop on Facebook and he'll have a decent little chat with people and they'll be on there talking with him for a little bit. But since he goes on and crowd funds, then it's like 3, 4 people are finding out that he's live and it's the same 3 or 4 people.
Yeah. Okay. It's I've become um I talked to Don Farmer a couple months back, and he was explaining to me a lot of stuff. I mean, that I didn't even think about, like name placement on video on DVDs and how you want the everything to size up and everything. And I'm like, because we were joking around because he had Shark Exorcist. I was like, why wasn't it the Sharkstercist? He said because it wouldn't have fit properly on the DVD case. And I went, really? And he's like, yeah, because you want it this way. You want the font to be X amount of size, and you want the picture to be so big. And I'm like, he goes, you want to be able to see it from a row over. If you're standing one row over, you look over and you can see it on the shelf. That's what you want to be able to do. And I'm like, son of a bitch, I never thought about that. But he was talking about, bringing in people that have a little but of a name or have this or that. And I'm like, oh, okay. I didn't think about that. And like I said, with being a horror host, I've seen other horror hosts and stuff like that now getting jobs in horror movies because they supposedly have a built-in market. They have a built-in audience. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. And then you talk about being a social media presence. I know that I seen there was a wrestler that got a chance at being a world champion, and he didn't have a big enough Twitter following. So basically, he was a champ for like a minute, and then they brought in somebody who had 1 million followers instead of 10,000 followers. Even though the guy with 10,000 followers is a far better wrestler than the guy with 1 million followers. So. Although, if anybody looks at my Facebook, my Twitter, or Instagram, I don't have a whole lot. And you look at my YouTube, I got a shit ton of people that watch my shows.
It's one of those things that it's like there's so much that a lot of people don't think of that go into indie filmmaking, because indie filmmakers, we have to be all of it. We are the studio, we are the distributor, like we have to come up with, we got to have the artwork, we have to have the correct looking title or logo that we think are going to be pleasing to people. Then, like we were talking about before, there's alpha stacking, like with deciding what your title is going to be.
Yeah,
there are like 100 different things that go into like one decision. And it's just, sometimes it can be overwhelming. There's times to where, like, man, anymore, if it gets to the point where something is overwhelming or anything, I'll just sleep or I'll do dishes. I'm weird like that. If I have to process something, I need to clean or like do dishes, and it helps me just, I think, more rationally think of how I'm going to go about things. But if I've hit a wall and it's like, it's almost like depression. It's like, I'm going to go sleep and hopefully wake up to something better.
But it's the amount of decision making and work that I didn't realize until recently. Like you said, with the alpha stacking and stuff like that, with the names. And Betsy, that you just did, you had to change the name for was it DVD release or streaming release?
Just, we had to change it entirely because the first time it was released, that distro company didn't put out physical media, but they did streaming, and you can still find it on 1 or 2 sites as Betsy.
Mm-hmm.
But when we got the rights back and got new distribution, they were like, we'll have to change the title. And I was like, I'm fine with that. And I wanted to find a title that would be appropriate for it. Like, there were a lot of titles thrown out, and I didn't really take alpha stacking into consideration because, well, that wasn't getting in Redbox, or not a lot of places do alphabetical
Not
media.
anymore. Not even Walmart.
Alpha stacking kind of gone out the door. but yeah, with Betsy, I just wanted a name that would still fit. Like I could have chose anything. I could have chose fucking the Werewolf of Brookhaven or just something crazy that really didn't have anything to do with the movie, but would catch people's eyes and be like,
Yeah.
werewolf. I like werewolves. So
Well, it's like I said, it's a bunch of decision making that I really did not know about until recently, and now I'm talking to you guys about it, and it's really something that I was, like I said, I should have been aware. I managed a video store; it should have been something, but I also managed a Hollywood Video. They tell you where shit goes, and it's not that I ordered anything; they just shipped it to us. Um, we had no decision making process there, even though we got screeners. We got screeners. I don't know why, because we didn't do anything with them. I had a shit ton of them at one point, but um, so I guess we've been going for a while here. I don't want to keep you guys too much longer. Um, so where can people go to help you with funding your movies?
Indiegogo.
I know I gotta tell everybody. Where can people go stream their movies, and where can they buy your movies?
A lot of our stuff is on Tubi or Amazon right now. Streaming for physical copies. I would say depending on the title, between Amazon and conceptmediallc.com.
Yep. See, I'm not gonna lie. This is how I knew you guys were starting to make it big. I bought a guy's huge DVD collection about a year and a half ago, and in it was two of your movies. I was like, all right. I was like, where'd you get these at? I think he got one at a flea market in Dayton, and the other one he got out of Family Video. So I think that's what he said, but not 100%.
Okay.
But you make it big when they end up at my store in a box of stuff that I bought.
There was one time in Dayton. Oh man, what was that one big store called?
Buybacks.
Buybacks. Yeah, we came across Midsummer Nightmares there once, and that was fun.
Did they want like stupid money for it?
Yeah, they wanted like $15, I think.
They were charging more for a used copy than we charged for a new one.
That's what I was wondering.
At any point in time that movie was out.
Buybacks was expensive. I don't know why anybody ever shopped there. Outside of maybe they paid good for their movies. I don't know. I never sold anything there.
Well, they had a room at the back that everything was $1. And then they had a part of that room that was just Blu-rays that were like $2, I think. And don't get me wrong, it was like some of the worst movies out there, but it was still it. I would bring home, because my kids lived down around that area, and every week I'd probably bring home 20 movies from that dollar area.
See, that's me now. I buy all those movies that come through because I might be the only place in Piqua that still, outside of like Walmart, that still sells just DVDs. And for the most part, they're $1. All my DVDs are $1 for the most part. There's some out of print stuff that I still have that's never been released on DVD or on Blu-ray or whatever. And those are a little more expensive. Like I have like an $8, $10, whatever. Blu-rays for the most part.
Let me know if you come across any copies of Spice World.
Spice World? I think I have a VHS copy of it at the store. Yeah, I'll double check and make sure it's got because I probably should check, but VHSs are real bad because people put the wrong ones in. And I'll double check. I did have one a while back. I'll see if I did, and if I do, I'll pull it and you can have it. Same if I find a
Nice.
DVD, you can have it.
I've got a comic I'm looking for.
Do what?
I've got a comic I'm looking for.
What you look for?
It's the giant size Werewolf by Night #4, where it's the werewolf versus Morbius.
Okay. I got some Werewolf by Nights, and I have some Adventures into Fear, so I'd have to look.
And
Because
I'm always Werewolf by Nights that I don't have.
see, I got a graded copy of a Marvel magazine, which is the first appearance of Blade fighting Morbius, the living vampire. So I was like, oh, that happened in a Marvel magazine first, and they're like, yep. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I ended up with it. Ended up in trade. It wasn't even like something I set out to buy. I was like, he owed me like 20 more bucks. I was like, why don't you throw that in on the deal? He's like, okay. And then I get home, I was like, it's $100 book. I'm like, sweet. Is it going? And my kids are like, you gonna sell it? I'm like, nah, it'll go over there somewhere. and now I gotta tell, and now I'm going through that whole thing because I'm getting older. So I'm like, I tell my wife and my kids, I'm like, remember, go through everything when I die. I was like, because there's expensive shit hidden everywhere in this room. And there's signed stuff. There's I have signed vinyl, signed books, signed posters. I have all my helmets and shit like that. And I got arcade cabinets. And I told my wife, I was like, well, you can sell this shit off and pay the house off. So, but yeah. But no, if you ever look at the remind me, send me a message on Facebook, and then I'll remember to look for it tomorrow. So I'll start digging through the stuff when I get there. If not probably right away, but relatively, but I'll see if I can find you. And I'll try to find you some Spice World stuff. So
I just want a copy of the movie. I had one. Shawn acquired it in his second divorce, and then somebody stole it from me.
Somebody stole Spice World?
Yeah.
That is a villain right there that would steal Spice World.
Well, that's because it's a hard movie to come by.
What is it?
It's an issue with all the music that's used in it.
Yeah, that's a lot of those movies that way. Yeah. There's
it has not been reprinted since its first DVD release, like over 10 or 12 years ago.
Dude, yeah. I think I have a copy, but it's Tina's copy. So technically I don't have a copy. I remember
just steal it from her. It's fine. I'll deal with Tina.
Deal with Tina. I took her to go see that in the theater. And I'm not gonna lie, man. I had the biggest crush on Jerry. Oh my god.
She's cute.
But I have a thing for
her. Paul, I hate to jet out of this interview, man, but I gotta go to the bathroom.
Well, I'm gonna wrap it up too, because I gotta go get the dogs outside and everything. So thank you guys for coming on.
You're welcome.
It's always fun. I love hanging out with you guys. We actually got to go hang out and do something sometime and go get something to eat, or you come up here and we'll go get Mexican or Chinese or Japanese or some shit like that and just have a day of it. So, because I that's one of the things I love about going to Horror Hound, because I usually see you guys, and then when I got there and you weren't there, I'm like, "Where's Ryan?" It's like he's on vacation. Like, you're on vacation. I'm like, oh fuck.
I wasn't on vacation.
You said you were gone. I don't know where you were at, but
I travel for work.
That's it.
So I got sent to the Pacific Northwest for 12 days, like very last minute. Like the week before Horror Hound, I got told I was going. And I was offered to fly back for the convention, but then I would have had to fly back again for work and then come back again. So
nope. Also, I don't know. I'm probably going to a horror convention, Haunted Screams Expo in September as a guest. But I might get with you guys and take some of your stuff with me to help promote and all that fun stuff. Because I went last time and they're like, you didn't bring any merch? I'm like, I don't have any merch. I just really started this stuff. I was like, I don't have nothing. I don't have no t-shirts. I don't have no hats. I don't have nothing. Now hopefully by then I'll have hats and t-shirts and shit. So
Oh, cool.
Now we'll get stupid shit with my face on it. So, but yeah, it's been great talking to you guys. So one of these days I will give you a shirt with my face on it. It'll say Saturday morning cereals, except for I'm making it look like a black metal shirt. So it'll say Saturday morning cereals on like black metal font. And I'm gonna have me standing on like a mound of TVs and cereal boxes with the corpse paint on and shit. But I'll still be wearing a hat in my
That's cute.
bathrobe. So bathroom.
Hmm.
Because I'm
Hell yeah.
I'm really into character when I do my character. Because they're like, that's lazy. I'm like, you're damn right it's lazy. I film it like 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to go in the bathroom, put makeup on, put my gimmick on, and then come out. I just put my hat on, throw my bathrobe on. I did. There it is. Before you go. I tried to do an episode with this on. And it's
All right, gentlemen. I'll see you guys later.
There it is. There it is. And you cannot breathe with this thing on at all. So I did like the first 5 seconds and I was like, yeah, we're not doing that. But all right. Well, sir, thank you for being on the show. Tell Ryan thank you again. And I'll talk to you guys. Like I said, we need to go do something, man. Go get something to eat. Freaking hang out. Free comic book day's coming up. So you can swing up on Free Comic Book Day and get some free comic books.
Is that in
4th.
May?
May 4th, I believe. I think it's right. First Saturday in May. I can tell you that much right there. So
Wonder
and then a month after that, Pickle Comic Con. So you doing anything June 4th?
We are supposed to be at a convention.
Okay.
May 4th is on day.
I don't know. It's the first Saturday. I might be wrong on the date. I
Okay.
don't have a calendar.
May 6th. I do have my kids. We're supposed to be Small Town Monsters is having, it's called Monster Fest in Canton, Ohio.
Yep, I know a couple people that can't make it because they're going to be there. So that's
At the moment we have a booth there, but when I got that booth, it depends if Stranded is going to be out.
Yeah.
Like if Stranded's out hitting a convention that's all about Bigfoot.
Yep.
That would be hopefully worth it.
There it goes. Out of the box. That was back in the box. Sorry. It was driving me nuts. But yeah, no, just like I said, also anytime you want to come up to the shop or something like that. But yeah, I'll put some comic books back for you. So
okay.
And I'll look for yours. So I'm out of here. You're out of here. Go home, or you're already home. Chill out, relax for the night, and I'm about to partake of some edibles and chill the fuck out for the rest.
Awesome.
So have a good night, man. Ryan, if you can hear this, have a good night.
All right, later, man.
See y'all later. Bye. All right, we want to thank Ryan and Shawn for being on the show tonight. And as always, Group Therapy TV is brought to you by RU Game, the best comic book collectible video game magic toy shop located at 124 North Sunset Drive, Pickle, Ohio, 45356. And you can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. So, and you can find all those guys on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff too. So take care, and I'll see y'all there. Captain out. Bye.